Okay, Plants and Scents in the Garden. It's by Nazca Pfeiffer. She's the museum curator for the Stephen and Peter Sachs Museum at the Missouri Botanical Gardens. Some of you have probably been there, where they have all the wonderful plants with their different scents. And I keep trying to say that word, scents. I was thinking as I was starting it, there's actually 3 words, right? There's S-E-N-S-E, and there is S-E-N-T, and there is
S-C.
what's the other one?
S-C-E-N-T.
And I'm not sure whether they're all pronounced the same, because with my slightly southern accent, I get a lot of words blurred together. But she is bringing scents with her to share with you. And some of you have probably been there and been on their tours of the different plants. I don't think she's going to bring that one that got the horrible smell.
Dorian.
That they always advertise in the
Dorian
paper.
is
Now you can
Can't
go
take
and
it into
smell the horrible
airports.
smell,
Yeah.
which I've managed to avoid. The week after that, we have Paul Bohm, who's the director of Upstream Theater. They do a lot of innovative, interesting theater work. He's also a translator of various European languages. He's translated plays and other literature. So he's going to talk not only about Upstream Theater and what they do there, his career as a theater director, but also about the art of translation. So I hope you'll come back for that one. That's the first Thursday in September. The second Thursday in September is September 11th, and that's the day before the big musical event of the year for St. Louis. The Music at the Intersection Festival starts. So we're actually going to take off Thursday, September 11th, because people will be all over the buildings and streets and parking lots, and you can either come and enjoy all that chaos on your own somehow, or you can just stay home, because we won't have high noon that day. But we'll be back on the week after that, the 18th. So, but today, I'm really pleased to have Joe Jackson. He's the co-owner of Jackson Pianos, which I understand has been in business in St. Louis for 27 years now. It's a long time for a relatively small business to operate. And they are a busy business. They do a lot of things. They do major repairs on pianos. They buy and sell pianos. They actually ship pianos all across the country. They tune pianos. And they are opening a sort of related business, a cafe called the Noteworthy Cafe and Cultural Center, and at the corner of Newstead and Olive. Used to be a car wash, I think. And they spent some years acquiring that property and then renovating the property. And if I read correctly, in the newspaper article I read about it, they are using pieces of wood from pianos that were not savable, the pianos themselves as pianos, but when they could take the wood, and so many pianos, beautiful wood. So they're going to be using that wood for part of the interior design elements in the cafe. We will have coffee and pastries. They're going to be open early. I'm not sure if it's 7 days a week. He'll tell you about it, I'm sure. But I think they're going to be open from something like 7 to 1 every day. But they call it a cultural center because they're continuing their emphasis on local musicians, on families and people listening to music, playing music, and they plan to have special events there where people can come and enjoy music. That's why we're talking to them. Not so much that because they're going to sell coffee, which we love, but because of the cultural aspects of that cafe. It's opening, I think, in just like 2 or 3 weeks now. So again, he'll tell you about that. Please welcome Joe Jackson.
All right, well, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I am Joe Jackson, and I will preface by saying I'm a very odd person, so sometimes my thinking goes all over the place, so bear with me. I'm a little bit on the weird side, but I'll try to keep this as straight as possible so everybody can follow me and I don't get lost. Yes, I started Jackson Pianos about 27 years ago. We started on Cherokee Street. We were there for about a decade. And then we started a non-for-profit called Pianos for People, and we moved that into my building, and then we moved from that location to Olive in the West End about 2012. And we've just been growing since then. We currently have Olive is our main location where we do rebuilding and ship it all around the country and internationally. We have a small showroom. I've got about 24 people that work there. So we have a pretty decent sized staff. I would say probably 4 or 5 times larger than any other piano company in the United States. So we are probably the largest full facility company in the US. There are ones that do specific things that are larger than us, but not really any that do the scale and scope that we do. We also have another location, Old North St. Louis, so we have a 20,000 square foot building there that is where we store pianos, and it is also going to be where we do manufacturing. We have a couple hundred pianos there, like she introduced. We do reclaim pianos, so one of the major things that we focus on is taking these pianos and turning them back into reusable woods again. There's a number, at the end of this I'll tell you some of our future stuff, and I'll go into that a little bit deeper. I'm going to stick to the program that my assistant put in there so I don't bounce all over the place. So let me get to the first slide and see what she's going to tell me to talk about. Okay. What is Jackson Pianos? All right, I guess I just did that. All right, so it started a long time ago with me just being a tuner. And I didn't want to really be a tuner. I thought tuning was nice, but that wasn't my real bag. My interest was really working with people and developing culture and working to restore and preserve things. And pianos just happened to be something that were complicated enough that it kept my attention. I have severe attention deficit disorder. A little background, I finished the 8th grade and then hit the road. That was about it for me. So my attention is really bounces around a lot. And pianos with 2,000 working parts and 14 tons of pressure, they're big enough and strong enough that they can actually hold me in place and keep my attention, for periods of time. Our major focus is restoration and bringing pianos back to life and bringing them and putting them in front of people, especially in front of people that normally would not be able to afford a piano. So we're a tiny little company, but we still have donated over 200 pianos ourselves. We're to different churches and different people all around the country and around the world, in fact. So it's the guiding principle of our company has really kept us through this 27 years, which is take the piano, connect with humans, get the piano out there and develop people more by using the piano as an instrument to do that. Let's go to the next one. All right. So one of the major things about our company, again, we're a very small company, but I believe very thoroughly that it doesn't matter if you're a plumber or if you're a lawyer or if you're a carpet layer. What needs to be integrated in your business is the ability and the desire to feed back into the ecosystem that you have to pull your money and your survival out of. I have always believed that, and I still thoroughly believe that no matter what you do, you really have to bring it back in. Now, we're all really familiar with the large corporations that have philanthropy, and that's great, but I really am an advocate that every business should have some kind of philanthropic arm to it. Even if it's something small like a plumber who 3 times a year comes to some place like this and gives a speech about how you can fix things in your home on the cheap and gives valuable information to those people that can't afford to hire a plumber. I don't see, I know a lot of people that run businesses and they all have big hearts, but it's rare outside of the bigger organizations that I see the smaller people really adopting the idea that they are an intricate part of a system. And I think that we undervalue ourselves as business owners, and we forget that we are an interlocking piece, that we have to, the money doesn't just come in one direction. We really have to create a thing where the money is coming in, it's going out, and we're feeding into a circle. And that is one of the major things that before I leave this planet, I hope to be able to instill in more business owners that the community that you're in, you really have to be an active participant. And the ways that we have done that are things like choosing to stay inside of the city. You'll never see my company outside of the city of St. Louis. We work outside of the city of St. Louis, but we will never open anything outside of the city of St. Louis, barring other states, because the city needs it more than any other place. If the city was doing great and Kirkwood was suffering, I would open a location in Kirkwood to help them out. But we're not in that situation. The city really needs it. So the things that we've done is focused on Old North. So we have a building there and we take really good care of it, and we invest in that area, and we proudly and happily pay all of our building taxes and everything like that. And we invest in the outskirts of the West End, which is an area that is challenging for businesses because it's a high crime area, and it is at the famous Delmar Divide, which is known around the country, and there is a reason. There is, being that we live on the Delmar Divide and we work next to the Delmar Divide, it's important that businesses like us bleed our money across the Delmar Divide. So we really try to stay active, not just on one side of the Delmar Divide. We really try to spread ourselves out and work in those areas and be part of those areas. All part of feeding the neighborhood, part of feeding our future. Because if we as a business hope to survive, we need to see things like the Delmar Divide disappear. We need to see those areas really flourish, and we need to see more and more people that can afford our services. So right now, we donate a lot to those areas. We give a lot of pianos. We work with teachers and try to seed future business, because as a business owner, again, when you're thinking holistically, you have to think where do you want your money revenues coming in 10 and 15 and 20 years, not tomorrow. The short-sightedness is part of not seeing the holistic picture of businesses being deeply engaged in their community. So, and if I'm not clear enough, I know there's a Q&A at the end, but interrupt me, please. Just put your hand up. I love being interrupted because it helps keep my mind on track. Okay, so again, some of the things that we've worked on, I got a little list here. I'm gonna run through just some of the things that we've done over the past years. We did a number of benefits for Places for People. We decided during the pandemic that we need, actually it was before the pandemic, that we needed to help out more. So we created a Places for People piano. We got their font and their colors and we created it, and we did different things like we did a 24-hour piano-a-thon where we played the piano for 24 hours straight, non-stop, which was really, I thought it was a great idea until it was like 4 in the morning and I was like, there's no one here, yet we're still playing the piano. And the piano player was like, can I just stop? And I said, no, you can lay down and just go like this, which she did for about an hour. That piano did not stop playing. Then during the pandemic, we got the idea of, well, this is when it's needed more than ever. So we took one of our large vans and we decorated the inside like a living room, and we put that piano into it, and we said, well, not only does Places for People need more cash because they're dealing with people who are having mental breakdowns from being locked in their home, people are locked in their home, and musicians had almost no gigs. So we said, all right, it's $200 and we will send this van to do a pianogram in front of your house. And $100 goes to the piano player and $100 goes to Places for People. And we just fronted the whole thing. And I think we had 60, people around 60 people book pianograms. So everybody was locked in the house, the piano pulled up in front of the house, we opened it, we set the speaker up, and it was freaking cold. And they sat and did a 30-minute show on right in front of your house. And so you could stand on the porch, and we played, and we did 2, 3, 4 of those a night. It was fun, and we generated a lot of money for some local piano players, and we generated some good money for places for people. Not a whole lot for something that big, but it still was very appreciated, and it made us feel like we were helping. Some other things we've done is we were the first in a long time, back in 2007, I think, we blocked Cherokee Street because we noticed that during Halloween, the kids around there didn't have costumes. They would go trick-or-treating with just their clothes on. So my wife and I decided, we should create a better environment for the kids around here and something that's going to be more special. So we blocked Cherokee and we brought symphony players in. And we got 5 of the buildings around to open up for us for the night. Most of them were abandoned. And we put players in all of them with different activities. And one of the activities, we brought all this stuff so the kids could make their own costumes. And so we had costume making, and we had instrument making, and then we had live performances, and then we had candy. And that was one of our first forays into this idea of we can and should be doing more for the environment that we're in. And still this day, I've run into, just a few years ago, I was walking down the street and this group of kids were walking toward me. They looked like they were 19, and they were staring at me, and I got nervous, and I was like, oh God, what are they looking at me for? And the kid walked up to me and he's like, you the guy that had the piano shop, I went to your Halloween show. I thought I was about to get mugged because they were staring at me so hard, but no, they remembered me. And that was a moment of like, wow, it was impactful. It was a moment that I connected, and a decade later, that person still remembered me. So we also, Pianothon, we've done lots of different collaborations with symphony players and Adam Menace and the 442s, and our Keys to Community program, which is where we have an agreement where we donate pianos to different bars and restaurants all over the city. And the idea behind that is, if we give you a piano, you pay living wages to piano players. The thing I write in the contract is, if I hear that you're giving them a beer to play, I get the piano back. That's just, you got to actually pay. You can't just say, here's a piano, play it for tips. The idea is that we'll put our skin in the game if the restaurants put their skin in the game as well, and offer real opportunity. And so it's been very successful. We've been doing that one for about 13 or 14 years, and we put pianos all over the place. Around here, in fact, a long time ago. We had a number of them, and it's really helped. And there are people like Ethan Lewan and Chase Garrett, and I'm blanking out. There's a few more that they came through St. Louis, and then they noticed that they could get 4 or 5 gigs at 4 or 5 restaurants, and they decided, wow, St. Louis is a lot of work, so they moved here. Those pianos, 100% were ones that we put there for free. Those are not people that bought a piano and put it out there. Those are all ones that we worked to make sure they were there, because we're fishing for the Ethan Lewans, and we're fishing for the Chase Garretts to come here and establish roots. And it works. How many people know that kind of stuff? Because we kind of keep everything in the rear of the gear. We kind of stay below the radar for the most part. Let me see. Okay, I think we've got another one coming up here. Here's some more stuff that we did. We once, a few years back, dragged a piano up to the top of a mountain for a Make Music Day, which is something we wanted to help establish here. We heard that it was a big thing in France. It's one of the biggest celebrations they have there. Make Music Day is a giant celebration there. And it started here. The very first year they said, hey, Jackson Pianos, we need some help getting some attention. So we said, you know what, let's drag a piano to a mountaintop and play play it and then leave it there for people to play and tell people to go climb this mountain and play this piano. And so we did it. We dragged it up there, and it was not easy. And we left it there for a month, and lots of people went up there and played it. And that was, it got a lot of attention from Make Music Day that year. And then the next year, we took like 30 pianos, and we painted them, and we put them on streets all over the city. Delmar had like 8 of them, I think. And that one drew a lot of attention. So that's, that's more of the way we see the world and how, the world should be done. We also put pianos at the airport to introduce people to piano. So when you get off a plane, boom, you see a piano painted like an octopus. My wife did that one. So Make Music Day, that was something that I'll be quite honest, is not doing what it should yet, but I still have hope. It's not really taken root, but I think that it can, and I really do see St. Louis as being the city that should be the city that's known for having the best Make Music Day out there, because we need to kick France's butt in this one,
Joe, what time of year is the Make Music?
It's always the summer solstice. It's June 21st every year. It's the worst time of year because it's always 100 degrees, and that's the downside. It is so hot that we do all these outdoor things, and it gets really uncomfortable at times. So some other things that we've done is eco-tunes. So that is some symphony players from different cities. They come to St. Louis, and they do this really wonderful thing where they blend music with the outside environment, with nature. And so I really highly recommend that you guys watch out for it. It happens every year, and we always donate a piano. We put it somewhere weird. Last year it got rained on, and that's okay. Jody Farber, I believe her name is, who runs that. And it's another one of those ways that we can blend. And all these things are always 100%. We don't charge. It's complete donations with us. And we don't have the money to do this. We are, again, a very small company. So for us, this is each time we do it, it's a major task. But again, you have to seed. You've got to put the money in if you want to get the money out. Let's see here, what else? Okay, Melodies of Change. That one this year was a big one. We took a container and we packed it with pianos and other instruments, and we shipped it to Uganda. It was huge. And all of those children unloaded it, and they sent us videos of them playing it to a seminary there. We were working with a local priest named Father Thomas Suwanda, and he's working on his doctorate at SLU, and he has the seminary in Uganda. And he came to us and said, hey, pianos are very rare in Uganda, and they're incredibly expensive. Could you help us? And we said, if you can get the logistics organized, we will pack it and get all these pianos ready for you. So he did, and we did. And we shipped them, and they arrived about 6 weeks ago. It took 3 months for that container to get from St. Louis to New Jersey to Kenya, 800 miles through Kenya across what, when I was speaking to the shipping company, they said they go about 70 miles an hour with 3-foot deep potholes. So we had to pack these pianos. And so that whole crew, right there, we took our van and loaded that thing up, and now they're all there, and we're hoping to go there and help tune them and fix them next year if we can get the funds together to do that. Again, that was, all of those were donated. Well, people donated the pianos to us, but we moved them, fixed them, cleaned them, all as a donation. Noteworthy Cafe. Okay, so Noteworthy Cafe is something I've been working on for a long time. It took me about a decade to get the gentleman who owned the building to finally sell it to me. It's not easy getting property. Noteworthy is the next critical step in our company's feeding back to the community. Noteworthy, the idea behind Noteworthy is that we listen to the community and then we take the community's needs and we also blend it with things that we see all communities need to help develop and grow, and we're going to blend those together as one thing. Noteworthy, everything goes through the idea of music. So the inside is built out of pianos. We harvest these pianos and we use them, and then we have a stage with a couple pianos on it. So the things that you'll see at Noteworthy are piano yoga classes for all ages. We're going to be doing chair yoga, and we're going to be doing free flow yoga. So we'll be focused on younger people and older people, and then they'll be part with coffee hours. So we can have movement and then time to talk and drink coffee and for people to connect. And then one of the major attributes of the cafe is that we're going to be blending people of different ages. So we're going to be focusing a lot on younger musicians and trying to blend that with older communities by working with retirement communities to bring people in to so there can be conversations coalition or whatever, some word, I don't know.
Collaboration.
So that's going to be a big part of it. We're also going to be doing poetry nights with piano, and we're going to be doing lots and lots of music nights and different focuses on things in our community that we need. So we'll be having different meetings about the neighborhood. We're going to be doing gardening parties, because I don't know if you can see, but we have a gigantuous garden coming. It is huge. So there's going to be a piano player in the garden while you garden, because I'm going to force piano on every aspect of this thing. So you come, you're going to stir your coffee with a piano key, because you're going to get pianoized. So it's going to be our microphone, our megaphone, for telling our community what we're working on and where we meet and work with people from around the world, because we have a number of different things that are happening around the world that we're working on, and collabs, I'm mixing that word up, collaborations. And so this will be where we talk and do things and really propagate more ideas. Okay, so two of the major things that we're working over this next 5 years. Firstly is this institution called the Piano Drome. It's an artist installation in Edinburgh, Scotland. I heard about them maybe 4 or 5 years ago on the BBC, and I thought, man, I've got to go there and meet these people, and St. Louis has got to have this. So I went, and my daughter and I, and we met with them, and we toured the Piano Drome, which is like this giant performance space that's made out of 100% pianos. And so what happens is it's this big circle, and you can sit in risers all completely made out of pianos. And so when the music plays in the middle, all the pianos kind of give a little light hum. So as you're sitting in the pianos listening, you're feeling it, the science of music and movement all there, and it's amazing. So we've struck some deals, and I'm going back out in about a month or so. Hopefully, we're trying to get the funds together for that. And this is the deal we're working on. The group wants to see one piano drome in every continent, and so we can interconnect. So last year I sent them what's called a scan rail, which is this device that we install inside of a piano. So when you play it, it records what you're doing, and you can shoot it through the internet anywhere in the world. So I sent them one last year. That was really a pain. And we're going back out to help them install it and look at it. And the goal is that we create and build a piano drome here in St. Louis. So this would be the only one in North America. And we would work with them over the years to bring one to South America and the other continents. And then we would broadcast piano players and music from St. Louis to the other piano dromes. So right now it will be this piano drome to the piano drome in Edinburgh, and back and forth. So it will be basically like a portal that you look inside of. So you stand inside of this drome, and what you do at 9 o'clock at night is happening at 6 o'clock in the morning in Scotland, and eventually at 4 o'clock in Brazil. the hope is that we can have that kind of success, but the first step is going to be getting the one here in St. Louis. So we're going out there and we're going to measure more and talk about it, and they have actual drawings and everything. And so my goal is in the next 5 years to have one erected here in St. Louis. Maybe if I can get lucky that I can make it a city thing. That's one of my hopes, is that we can get the city involved and maybe make it like a park. We'll see what happens with that. It's going to be built no matter what, but who knows who's going to own it in the end. So that is one of the major things that we're bringing forth over the next 5 years. So keep your eye out for that. And this is the end of that, but I do have some other things. The next thing that we're working on that we're projected to start in 2030, and I don't want to go too much into this because I don't want to reveal a whole lot yet, but we, our north side manufacturing facility we're consistently working on and building out the machinery. The goal is to launch a piano style instrument line that will be exclusively made here in St. Louis. It's going to be repurposed from old pianos. And I don't want to go too much in it because I don't really want that information out there yet, but it will be a piano instrument manufactured in St. Louis like it used to be back in the day when we had manufacturers here. And we will be transporting those all over the United States. And they're going to be unique in a way that I have not seen anything like this in the world. There are some other ideas that we're borrowing from, but we're blending it into our own thing. So 2030, we hope to launch that. It's going to take us, it's been years in the making, and we still have a few more years left to get this finished. But keep your eye out for that, because that will be a major stepping stone for us and for our city. Again, our commitment to the city, it will happen in the city, and it will happen hopefully in North St. Louis, because we really want to be more involved in North St. Louis and paying more taxes there and paying more building taxes and trying to generate more cash in that area to be good stewards of the land that we are in charge of currently in that area. So keep your eye out for that. And I think that's what I have for mostly. I've got other things, but I am very happy to take some questions if anybody has any questions, or if my wife wants to point out anything I forgot to go over. Any questions? Okay, yep, okay, well, choose first. I think I did see, okay. Red hat.
Yeah, I have a two-part question. How is the piano changed over the years, and can the piano still be blue? And one last one for how the tune is still around.
Okay, so first question, the piano has changed considerably over the last 100 years ago. 1900 was a major time for the piano change. It was rapidly changing to the 1800s. And by and large, the piano that came around in the 19-teens is what we have now, barring the fact that they're made much flimsier now. A piano now, this is a piece of information that nobody really ever thinks about, and tuners don't even think about this, but you have to remember in 1915, a piano was built to be in a home with a fireplace. Okay, so what's the number one thing that destroys a piano is humidity fluctuation. So if you took a piano and you put it in a home with a fireplace, you better make it a Sherman tank of a piano. So pianos used to be made out of very, very heavy, high quality woods that could handle a fluctuation in humidity. That's changed massively. Now they're made mostly out of like composite materials and cheap wood mixtures. So a piano nowadays, a new instrument could not handle being in a home with a fireplace at all. It will just destroy it. So that's the first one. It has changed only really in construction, the adherence to quality of the construction. There are some other things that I don't want to go into that are going to get really into the weeds, but if you'd ever like to come to the shop, I can go over some of that. Your second question, I don't understand what because the piano's so blue. Can be blue?
Blue music.
Oh, blues. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Yes, piano's one of the best instruments for blues. I mean, people will say steel guitar is more important, but Otis Spann was one of my favorite pianists, and he was an amazing blues pianist. And yeah, I mean, and Johnny Johnson. St. Louis, had one of the best blues pianists ever. And yeah, the piano, it's great for blues. Yes, definitely. The second most important instrument for blues, maybe, but I would argue the most. And then thirdly, yes, there's a school for blind piano technicians. It's called the Emil Fry School, and I think it's either in Minnesota or Chicago, but it was started by a blind piano tuner named Emil Fry, and there are still a number of blind piano tuners. It seems to be that being without sight is probably a very good attribute for listening to the piano. I've worked with some blind piano tuners at conventions, and it's amazing what you can definitely work on a piano without eyesight. I would argue that there's a good chance you'd be better than a sighted person, because sighted people tend to lean on their eyes when they should be using their ears. So the Emil Fry School, I would look into that if you have any interest. It specializes in tuning for people who have lost sight or didn't have sight. Yeah, and you had a question?
Interested. I'm intrigued by your broadcast device for your piano drum. Is that partly mechanical? Is that entirely just sending, recording and?
So what it is it's a scan rail that we install underneath the keys. It's a set of lasers that travel and it follows the key travel, so it tells you the velocity that it's being struck, and so it can replicate how you're playing by measuring the key from underneath.
So then on the other end, you have a device that sits on top of the keys and presses them?
Yes, yeah, or underneath. So there's a number of them. We have one device that if you ever come to the shop, we can show you. At Noteworthy Cafe, we'll be showing these things. We have one device, you pick it up, you set it on the piano, and you get your phone out, and it plays the piano like fingers, okay? Then there's another style that we install inside of the piano that actually plays it backwards. It plays it from the inside, behind it, and up. So with the piano drum, what we can do, and we'll show this after our visit in October, probably sometime in the Christmas season, we'll do our first broadcast. So we'll take the device that sits on top, and then they'll play a show there, and our device will play it back. So it's very interesting, and I mean it's mostly a tchotchke, because Adam Manis came in a couple years ago when I had one of these systems, and he came and he said, "Man, I need to get one of these." And he sat down, and it's Adam Manis, so he sat down and said, and he pushed play, and it said, ba 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 ba. Okay, so that's what it does. It can't. And he said, "Yeah, Joe, this isn't gonna work." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not at that level, but it still hit every single note, but it's a little tone deaf." So they're really cool, and they're tchotchke. There's something neat that it'll get people in, and our bigger idea is that you get people in, and then they start seeing a bigger world, and we open their head up, because that's the idea. Just open their head, because as we all know, we all close our head, which is what happens. We're always closing our head. It's a safety mechanism. So we have to have it pried constantly, because if we're not prying it, it just closes, and when it closes, what happens in anything is closed up, it rots. So we got to keep that air into our brains. That's what it's designed to do. Any other questions?
Do you have a tax qualified contribution fee so people can
No. So don't even get me started on that one. I think not-for-profits are great. They really are great. There are so many great ones. I think we're in one right now. It's great. I believe there are way too many of them, you know, I mean, and I think a lot of them get used inappropriately. There's a lot of great examples of them, like this and the symphony and you know, all those are great ones. But I'm little, and I believe that when people work with us, you're supporting me in my vision. That's it. I can't give you a write-off. You do it because you agree with me. You do it because you want to get over there. I don't get a write-off for the stuff I do. I keep getting pressure to create a non-for-profit for years, but I did create one once before, Pianos with People, and I was like, oh, I'm never dealing with the board again. So they're all great. They're wonderful ones out there. We've got a lot of really wonderful ones here in St. Louis that do fantastic work. They don't need another, you know, don't need me to be that. So what we do is basically, if you want to see us keep going, use us, pay us to do work, because every dollar I make as a profit pretty much goes back into all these ideas. So that's, you know, put your money where your mouth is. If you feel like what we do, tell a friend to use us, have us move your piano, tune your piano, rebuild your piano. We ship it, you know, nationally, internationally, anywhere. That's what I tell people. You know, so, but no, nothing, and I hope to not ever go there. Yeah.
This is such an exciting presentation, partly because I'm your neighbor.
Okay.
And I go by your place, and I've been watching the development, and I just can't wait for September the 6th.
Yeah.
So I hope you're gonna do a plug for that. I just ordered my free tickets today, and I'm sure you're using that just to gauge the volume of people that will show up. And I appreciate this presentation because I knew of Pianos for People, but I didn't realize it was all sort of connected to Jackson.
Not anymore. I walked away from Pianos with People about a decade ago. Just, you know, it just got too busy, and, you know, just not-for-profit stuff is really consuming. But
And
yeah.
there's some of us that go to Ragtime Rendezvous on Monday.
Oh, at Rosebud Cafe, yeah.
And Ethan and TJ and Royce Martin is there
Yeah.
sometimes. And I think Royce ended up with a piano.
Yeah, we gave him a piano back when he was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah, he didn't even know how to play piano yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are just wonderful, and your commitment to the city, and I'm just really impressed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so September 6th is our soft opening. We are going to be taking donations, and then you get free coffee, because I can't get I'm trying to get this health, we're legally open, but I haven't had my health inspection because it's taking me forever to do my ServSafe thing. So we're just giving away free coffee for the day. And if you want to donate $10, that's very helpful, but the coffee is free. But we have lots of music for the day. We've got music, and we've got a flow yoga class. Then we also have a chair yoga class for people who are not as limber, I guess. And then we have a series of jazz. We've got a bunch of 15-year-old kids who are really talented at doing a jazz show at 6. And then we have Ethan at 9, and then we have a few other players I'm blanking out on right now. But if you look at our flyers and stuff, you'll see it. It's gonna be a fun time. Yeah, and where our goal is to make it a very deep garden area. So when you come in to get coffee, you'll be able to go into a very thick, rich garden. I really love that garden around here, park-like. It's, you know, our hope is it's something like that I think that things like park light, you know, those are massively helpful. You know, that is the kind of stuff that makes our city really, really attractive to people from other areas. You know, that weird, different way of looking at what is a park. A park-like, pretty cool. So, yes, thank you for the plug. Yes. And any other questions? I saw.
You said people sit on bleachers or something in this sound thing?
Oh, the piano drum. Okay, so the piano drum, let me see if I can get back to it. Okay, you can kind of see it. The pianos are dismantled, and then they're welded and hooked together. So you're sitting inside of the piano, the piano's been, where the keys are at, have been turned into seats, and they're stacked on top of each other.
How many people?
About 100.
You can get 100 people?
100, yeah.
In this thing?
Yes.
And how big is the whole place?
It's a little bigger than this room. Yeah, it's large, and it goes up. It goes up 20 feet probably. It's large. It's big and it's heavy. They had one in Carolina for the North Carolina Charlottesville Shout, and it cost them $150,000 to build it. I think I can do it a lot less than that because I am who I am. But we were going to buy that one, but they were like, well, we want the $150,000, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not interested. So it was there for 5 years, but it was only on a 5-year contract. So
In a building, or is it, I mean, I don't.
it's in a building, yeah.
So you have to have a building first.
Huge building,
And
yeah.
after you got the building, then they spent $150,000 to build this inside the building.
Exactly.
It was already there.
Exactly, yeah. So you have to have a very large building, and that's why, I was kind of thinking working with the city, because I'm assuming they have some building that is not being used. I do have some other people who own churches that said they would house it. But the one is off Cherokee Street, and I really want to stay in the West End. I want to, in my mind, the Grand Center's amazing, and it's doing a lot of cool stuff, and the West End's really cool and doing a lot of cool stuff. I really am trying to create a link in between those two areas, because in my mind, we should be, if someone comes to the city, they should be able to 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and be able to connect these things. It shouldn't be the situation we have now, where we've got these gaps and people will come to one thing and then they don't go to anything else. I know the Grand Center really kind of suffers from that because, it's either dead or it's so busy you can't find parking. Take the bus, yeah, that's a great one. So in my mind, the area that we're at and a little bit in between will be downtown, Grand Center, kind of that connector, the West End, the park. So one of the major things that we're trying to do at Noteworthy is to create a bike rental program. So we have e-bikes, so you can get an e-bike, because an e-bike you can go quick, and if you're not in great shape, you can still get everywhere. So we're hoping that next year we can roll out a thing where we've got e-bikes that you can rent, and then some of these e-bikes will have storage compartments, and the idea is we work with some other businesses, because one of the major things that I didn't talk about was that our schedule at Noteworthy is going to be a connector to other schedules, meaning that we are not going to book things in conflict with our neighbors. So if, let's say the dark room's got something at 7 o'clock, we're not going to do something at 7 o'clock. We're going to do something at 5 o'clock, and then we're going to point to this thing at 7, and we're going to end at 6:30. Because our yoga classes and things like that, the idea is that we bring people from Kirkwood and we bring people from Baldwin, and we say, hey, we're doing this thing, and when you're done, why don't you go down the street? They've got dinner. And we're intentionally not going to expand our menu because they want to keep it to where it's just snacky stuff, so you're hungry, and then you go to the Blue Strawberry, or you go to Evangeline's, or you go to the Dark Room, or you go to the Chase to see a movie, something else. Our job at Noteworthy is to bring people in at different hours and then push them into our fellow businesses to get them into the neighborhood and buying. So we're going to make sure all of our schedules always follow a rule of not competing. So there are going to be weird hours, but it's not really designed to make much money. It's like, again, it's a microphone. If it makes enough money that it breaks even, that I told my staff, if I make $5,000 after a year on this thing, I'm going to be winning. The idea is to create a stronger ecosystem. Again, it's critical. We're in the city, our taxes are down. There's not enough money for anything. We gotta fix that. Businesses need to get involved. They have to look bigger. They can't be short-sighted. They have to really think far ahead. They have to have big plans, and they need to interlock with all of their other businesses around them to create real momentum. And my track record, I think, speaks for itself. 27 years of being a weirdo And I've never, ever in 27 years missed a payroll, ever. I've never laid anyone off. I've got 25 people now. By hook or by crook, we make sure it always happens. That's what a business does, and we do it because we create ecosystems and people support us. You know, we do a lot of business around here. We do business with the Symphony, we do a ton of business with the Kranzbergs, we do a lot of business with establishments all over the Central West End, a lot of business at World Chess Hall of Fame. We are constantly working there. That's because they see that we do great work and we're committed. And so the circle is, you know, and more businesses see that and learn from us, like you feedback, you give back, and you will get it back. It's going to create a healthier city for everybody. So that's my hope. Any other questions?
You mentioned the e-bikes. I don't know at all, but with the newest project, I think, of the Great Rivers Greenway, where they're building a new bike.
Yeah, on Tower Grove.
Is it going to go anywhere near your business when it goes north, or?
Oh, you mean the Hodemarch Tracks one?
Yeah, well, the one that, I know there's gonna be one that's gonna come fairly near here, and I think north of Grand, or?
It's the brick line that goes from
Oh.
Fairmont Park to Tower Grove Park.
Oh, yeah. It should be, will be like a couple blocks off of that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been very excited about that.
It goes on spring.
Yeah, it goes on Spring, which is actually like 5 blocks down from us. Yeah, you cut down a crowd. Yeah, I was really excited that they're taking it to Fairground Parks because Northside gets ignored most of the time. And when I heard that it was going to Fairground Park, that was a very nice thing to hear that they're actually gonna take city money and really spread it around like that. We're close, but not as close as I'd like to be, but there's the Hodemarch Tracks as well, which is really close to us, which there's been talk about something happening there. I'm hoping that we get more involved in that stuff. I'm hoping that we can be more participatory. One of the fantasies that we have is we're working on a piano bike, and the piano bike is it's a tricycle that one person rides it and the other person sits on the back of the piano and plays a small piano while we ride around. So we hope to launch that. Every year we think we're going to launch it, but Noteworthy drained me horribly financially, so the piano bike got bumped again. But I'm hoping next year we get the piano bike up and running, so you'll see that on these different tracks it'll be riding. You'll see it around Forest Park. So basically the idea with that one is that we're going to put our Jackson piano signs all over it, and we're just going to give it for days to, give it to a day to a pianist. So basically it's just free, like here you go, tip bucket, go make some money. And they ride around the tip bucket, and then we pick it with we'll come with a box truck and pick it back up when it's all done. So I'm really excited about these bike lanes because I really look forward to someone riding their bike and riding past. Can you imagine that? You're riding your bike and you see like this thing off and you're like, what is that? You get closer and it's a piano going 8 miles an hour away from you and they're just playing away. That kind of thinking is what the city needs because we don't have money. The city is broke. It's not it's a bunch of people like me who barely can pay our car payment. We need creativity. We need to support creativity. And there's a lot of creative thinkers out here. So I'm excited about what the future's going to look like. Any other questions?
Will you remind us one more time, September 6th, what time are you going to start that day?
We are starting at 7 in the morning. We have a pianist, 2 different pianists that are going to be playing in a garden. My mom and dad built the garden, and it's the Robert Babel Memorial Garden, even though he's alive still, we call it that. He's 80 and he's always telling us he's about to die. He's not about to die, he's as strong as a mule. But we have a placard and it says the Bob Babel Memorial Garden, and he'll stand there next to it and you can take a picture with this ghost of a man who died 40 years ago. So we're gonna have different pianists in the garden to start, and then we'll move inside later. So 7 in the morning, we are taking a break from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. You can come by and check the place out, but we're gonna be tuning the piano, taking some breaks and things like that. So 7 to 1, then 4 or 5 to 10. Yeah, and then that will be the only time we're really gonna be impeding on other people. I'm breaking the rule for this one thing, but I'm not selling anything. So you take your money and you go and you spend it at one of these other establishments, not with me. I mean, after you give your $10 donation for coffee. I gotta get that. Any other questions? Wow, nothing
Well,
else?
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. There we go. All right, thank you, everybody.
If anyone would be interested in being added to our mailing list, Tammy back there can take your information, and that way you're always sort of up to date on anything, any of our crazy stuff that we're doing. I use
That was great talk. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I'd like to go.
Yeah. I want to do some chair yoga. September the 6th. Ah.
Y'all take care. Want to sit over there? Want to sit over there at the table?
Even